What's up, bros? Welcome to the Men of Mind podcast. I'm Omar Bravo, and this is the podcast all about badass knack bros and their journeys through life. From the bad beats and the lessons learned to the mountaintop successes and advice they'd give their younger selves, this is your chance to get to know these bros better. In this episode, I talk with Lorenzo Lopez, Untitled Chapter Beta Class number 22 from Santa Clara University. Órale.
What's going on, brother?
Low rider, what is happening, my man? It has been too long.
Yeah, way too long, brother. It's kind of sad that it's been so long.
Yeah. But we pick up where we left off, right?
Yeah, like yesterday.
Like yesterday, man. 10. By my calculations, I'm counting 10 years. I think it's been 2012 was the last time I was in the Bay, and I was able to track you down. So a lot of stuff happened in past 10 years.
Yeah, for you and me both.
But you haven't changed at all, though. You look the exact damn same. I keep getting older.
I don't know, man. I feel older. My body tells me I'm not young anymore. My mind thinks, yeah, I'm still there, but I can't move like I used to, man.
Yeah, I find that execution is still, I can execute like I ever did. It's the recovery that gets more extended. I don't bounce back as quick as I used to.
You're not kidding.
Yeah.
The recovery from anything, drinking, walking, it don't matter. The recovery takes some time now.
The recovery is definitely more on an extended period.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So in the past 10 years, I mean, last time I saw you, I didn't have any kids, I don't think. And now I got 5. So what if you, let's see. So first question that I've been starting with everybody is, married with kids or single and ready to mingle?
Single in my mind, but married at my house. No, married with children. I got.
Oh God, that is the best answer I've heard, brother.
I got 3 kids, 3 girls. You know one of them.
Yeah,
from way back.
From way back. And
then I took an extended break, and then had the next 2. We didn't want to go through the when we had the second girl, Catalina, we didn't want to go through the same thing where, basically having an only child, because Mariela was going off to college soon. It would be a little different because we're married and in the same household this time. But, that poor kid would be by themselves most of the time. So I authorized kid number 3. I said, all right, let's give her a sibling. And we had another girl, Viviana, and now these 2 drive me crazy. These 2 little ones, man, they run this place. I'm just the Uber driver for them. Really.
How old are they?
Catalina's 6, Viviana's 3.
Already 6. Dang, that goes fast.
Yeah.
That's wild. And so did you order 2 girls, or that's just the way it happened?
That's just the way it happened, man. It didn't really matter to me, but at the same time, when the second one happened, it didn't matter. And then when the third one, I kind of didn't want a boy. I guess I was used to the girls, and I wouldn't even know what to do with the boy anymore. So, and it was a little convenient because we had
all the stuff.
Yeah, we had everything. We'd have to buy a lot.
Yeah, hand-me-downs are super easy when you line them up like that.
Yeah, it kind of worked out to have that third girl, so we could just put her right in the clothes that the previous one had.
And so is the store.
And toys, dolls and shit like that. I wouldn't want my son playing with the Barbie dolls. Not that there's anything wrong with it, but I just probably wouldn't have worked out again.
Oh man, I've got 3 girls and then 2 boys. And so the older boy, man, he's up in the mix with the Barbie dolls and the Barbie houses. All the Barbies are jumping off and skydiving, and then they're driving the trucks all crazy.
Yeah, that's some crazy tomboys.
Yeah, his Barbies are rough, bro. They wrestle with Spider-Man. Like,
so you said 10 years, 5 kids.
Yeah.
So you're due. You're due for the next.
No, the store, according to my wife, and me too, but according to my wife, she drives this truck and she says the store is closed. closed for business. She had to go out of business sale, everything. It's
same here, man. I don't even know what I was thinking going forward. We could have been empty nesters right now, you know?
Yeah,
but
that's right.
It's going to be a while for that, for us.
Yeah. So that's wild. So yeah, you guys are done? No more? It's over?
As far as I know, we're done. Sometimes I got to...
You know how it happens, right?
Yeah, I try to sleep in the other room on occasion just to make sure.
Yeah.
Well, we got those haters that live with us. It's not like we have a lot of free time anyway. So we got two walls in between. And
the haters, I love it, bro. I'm gonna start calling them that.
Yeah, they're haters for sure.
Well, I started telling my wife because the two younger boys. I'm like, it's hard because you've got other men in your life, and they hone in. And she says, "You did this to me. You gave these men to me." So,
man, how old are yours? How old are your kids?
9, 7, 5 for the girls, and then 3 and 1 for the boys. So just stair step, bro.
Yeah, every 2 years. Time for another. The clock struck 12, and it's time.
Yeah, that's we're done. 5. If I have any more, I think I got to get another car. I don't like one of those 15 passenger vans or something. So
yeah,
no, that's not happening. We're
good. Do you have a minivan? You got a minivan right now?
Oh yeah, maxi van. the minivan is full. I've got the big old Yakima skybox on the top because you need all the cargo space. Golly, it's a lot.
Yeah, they have too much shit. Just dropping one off at daycare. She wants to take as much as she can with her.
Yeah,
you don't need all that stuff. Come on, let's just go. We're just going down the block. They're doing everything.
How are you as a dad? Are you pretty strict, or are they your little princesses? How does that work? Who's the enforcer in the fam?
I think it depends. It depends on the situation. I would say I have a lot more patience than Mama does, but there's times where I lose it. They take me to my breaking point, and not often, but I don't know. Maybe that's a good question for Mariela. I think I think Brenda's more of the enforcer, but I jump in when I need to be, and I'm a lot more firm. But I don't know. Those are my babies. Those are my girls, and they're daddy's girls for sure.
Okay, all right.
Brenda gets jealous. Jealous sometimes when I'll sit down on the couch and they'll leave her to come to me. I'm trying to send them back sometimes, but it didn't work out that way.
I spend all day pinching kids and pulling the sides of the hair.
Yeah, I
all day long.
I don't really physically discipline them. It's more, better get over here. I raise my voice and
yeah.
I don't think the smacking them works. These girls they laugh at you.
Yeah.
You try something like that. So it's not worth it. Waste my time. I don't want to waste my time and leave a bruise.
That's right. That's right. Like I say, the pinching and the little hair pull, it's kind of like working with a puppy. It's just that correction. It's like, you're doing something wrong. I raise my voice, pull your hair, you're good.
Yeah. Sometimes I don't think anything works. You just got to bribe them.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We talk about it all day long. Parenting is, from my perspective, it's nothing more than a series of threats and bribes, back and forth.
Yeah, I read something a while back that you negotiate all day long, their whole lives with them. They're the best negotiators, and it's true, man. All we're doing is negotiating. All they ever want is a snack. All day long, and I'm just trying to negotiate out of the snack to eat a meal, and it's just silly. It's silly. One of them wanted Doritos this morning for breakfast, and I was like, "No, you can't have Doritos. And maybe after breakfast." But I got to negotiate. I got to do whatever I can to negotiate with them, and it's it's kind of exhausting how much negotiating you got to do to not eat Doritos and freaking popcorn for breakfast.
They'll wear you down. We have a policy. We don't negotiate with terrorists, man. It's just hard no. Hard no. We don't negotiate with terrorists.
These are some homegrown terrorists, man. It's our fault. We created them.
Created him, man. So her folks are local, right? So they've got their grandparents right there.
Her dad passed away probably when Mariela was about 5.
Oh, wow. That was a long time ago.
So, yeah, like 17 years ago. Mariela turns 22 next week.
Oh my gosh. That is wild.
Yeah.
That is
we'll talk about old. She turns 22 next week, and then she graduates from Cal next month.
From Berkeley? Wow.
Yeah.
You done good. You both have done real good.
I don't know. I give her the credit. I just was helping to guide her a little bit here and there. But yeah, man, I'm proud of her. She's kicking butt. She doesn't really need us just for some money here and there, but the girl's got more money than I ever had at that age. You know, she's been just putting it away in her account. And yeah, I'm amazed at how much she's been able to save up.
What's your major in?
She's her major is media studies. Hopefully I'm getting this right. Media studies, and then global poverty minor. What does that mean? I have no idea, but good for her. Get that piece of paper and I'm happy.
There you go.
And she's got a job right now. She works for a nonprofit, and apparently when she graduates, they have a position waiting for her. So she was working for free, interning for them, and then they shifted her to getting paid at the beginning of the year. And then I guess sometime after graduation, she'll be hired on full time to do who knows what. I don't know. I don't even know what she does, but hey, get a paycheck. But I don't even know what Brenda does, so it doesn't matter.
And so she graduates next month.
Yeah.
That's insane. Good for you guys. Wild.
So I'm on two ends of the spectrum here, brother. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's kind of hard to believe. People I talk to that don't know the whole story. They're like, "What? Wait, what? You have a kid in college and you have a kid in potty training?"
And so,
yeah, I got both sides.
And so, what was it? Was it 18-year difference?
She was born. Catalina was born. She was almost 16. 16.
Okay,
right before she turned 16, she was born.
16-year break. There you go. Yeah, you would have been empty nesters. A lot happens
in those 16 years, man. As you know, you were in the mix in there somewhere, seeing me doing whatever the hell I was doing.
Yeah, life changes. That's one of the funnest things of doing this podcast is just seeing everybody grown up, right? I mean, when we were in the mix and everybody was hanging out every day, we were between 18 and 22 years old, and that's like prime age for being as big of an idiot as you could possibly be. Like you very rarely see people become bigger idiots outside of that range. Some do, but it's rare. Usually
maybe
people,
the uneducated ones, they can keep it going for a long time.
Most
some folks, educated ones too. So
yeah, but most folks eventually find responsibility and have to pull it together. And so it's so cool to see all these bros like having pulled it together. It's like, wow, there's some folks doing some really wonderful things and raising families and being men for others. And it's gorgeous, man. It's gorgeous to see. It's like, yeah, it was touch and go there for a little bit. You didn't know how it was gonna play out, and then everybody seems to pull it out.
Yeah, I think back to a lot of these guys. When you included, seeing you guys growing up before us. In the college years, mm-hmm. And then fast forward to now and seeing how some of them are doing now. Is who would have thought? I'm not, not in a negative way. Just you never know where someone's going to end up or what they're going to be doing. And it's just, I'm proud. I'm proud of all you guys, what you've become and how the man you have become. And it is kind of cool to see, not watching some of the interviews that you've done, it's cool to kind of catch up. I kind of wish I was in the room with you guys and chatting with you, because I want to jump in and ask a question myself.
Exactly.
So I'm going to start my podcast tomorrow with them to follow-up questions from the Omar podcast. So we'll see how it goes.
I wish we could put something together, because there's so many other perspectives and questions like, hey, don't forget about that. Oh yeah, he didn't even say, he got that story wrong.
Yeah, he's fucking lying. That's not how it went.
we need the director's cut. It's like, that never happened. That's not true. That's not the way it went.
Yeah, and my apologies for taking so long to even making this happen, man. I wanted to do it as soon as you contacted me, and I just could not make it work, man. I am busy. I'm a busy dude. So my apologies for that.
No, it's good, man. It's good. Life is wild for all of us, and again, another commonality with a lot of us in that whatever 40 plus age range. Like, we're the leaders of our families and our communities, at our work. It's like everybody's looking to us, because that's the stage of life that we're in, and it's so cool to see. It's like, damn, I feel like sometimes I'm the only one. Everybody just keeps looking at me for direction, and then when I talk to all the other bros, it's like, oh shit, you too. Oh, you too. Oh yeah, everybody's depending on you. Oh, yeah. It's like, we're constantly opening up the wallet and opening up the home, and it's never ending.
Constantly, man. And yeah, just work is crushing me on a daily basis. So
Let's talk about that. Where are you working right now?
I am working for the city of Mountain View.
Okay, so right after graduation, you started out with the city of Santa Clara, or county? Was it the county?
No, I actually worked for a couple of consultants.
That's right.
Right after graduation, I had
you were at DKS?
I was at DKS, but even before that, I was at another company called Multitrans.
Mm-hmm.
And, I was there not long, maybe 6 to 9 months. And then I went to DKS for probably another 6 to 9. Then I went to Santa Clara, and I was there 12 years.
That's a good run.
Yeah. And then it was time, and I jumped ship at a good time. That place was going downhill. So I've been in Mountain View about 10 years now. And
okay.
I've worked my way up. I'm the city traffic engineer for the city of Mountain View.
Damn.
So, I'm it.
So it's your fault.
Yeah. Man, the pressure that I'm under on a daily basis is just incredible. It's I can see why some of the guys in this position have not lasted long. It's a lot of stress. You're dealing with a lot of people's emotions on a regular basis. People hate traffic, but you're also dealing with, incidents. Something happens. A kid died recently and got hit by a truck at an intersection, and everybody was jumping on the city like, you got to do something. Not necessarily it's your fault, but kind of, you guys got to do something. You're not doing enough. That we're never doing enough. That's just the way it is for anybody that is calling in and complaining, and that they don't see what we are doing on a daily basis. I feel like I'm putting out a fire all the time. And this is not I remember back in college, the civil engineer teachers always said that civil was more important than mechanical and electrical and all these other, they were always bad mouthing the others. You build a cabinet or something and a little fancy electronics to open it or close it, that's fine. But when you're dealing with someone's life, mm-hmm. someone out in the street, someone lives or dies by something that you've designed, well, that's real. That's real. People have a lot of emotions tied to that. And so that's what, a lot of my job, once you move up to my position, it's politics. Mm-hmm. I'm caught up in politics, and I still want to kind of be in the weeds with my staff and crunch some numbers and do some of that kind of stuff, but I can't all the time. I'm too busy dealing with the public, and I have to talk to the public on a regular basis, whether it's now via Zoom or, in person. I used to have to run a lot of neighborhood meetings. It's a thankless job. It really is. There's hardly, or it's very minimal that people call and say thank you for what you're doing. A lot of times they're calling to complain. And, you know, it sucks, but it's the nature of the beast.
That's wild. That's wild. And so you've been at this for 22, 23, 24 years?
About, yeah.
It's been a good run.
Kind of crazy to even think about it. I remember when someone was asking me, so give me your experience. And I said, oh, I've been doing this for over 20 years. And I just thought, holy shit, that's hard to believe. You know, I remember when I was a young engineer back in the day, in the early 2000s, you know, I was around a lot of older guys. Mm-hmm. Anytime I went to a meeting, I would see all these old timers, and I just thought, man, look at these old guys. Now I'm one of those old guys.
Yeah.
It's very interesting to you. It's all a blur in between. Suddenly, boom, here we are. Now I'm on the freaking downward spiral to retirement.
That's still a long way away too.
I don't know. I'm able to retire at 55.
Okay.
So, and I think I might. I don't know if I can make it to 55.
and then what are you going to do?
I don't know. Catch up on some rest.
I tell folks,
the girls will be probably in high school, junior high age. So
yeah,
I'm going to need the rest to deal with those teenage girls.
Well, and the teenage boys that come with the teenage girls, right?
Yeah, well, yeah.
I mean, at some point, you're going to be interviewing son-in-laws and making sure they're lined up proper. Like,
man, that is the one thing about girls that sucks. You know, boyfriends. You'll see, man. You'll see. That's going to be the worst time.
I'm of the mindset of
describe how much you have to hold back. You know, when you see your daughter with a guy that you just cannot stand, you want to freaking choke him. You want to just choke slam him right there as soon as you meet him, or the second time you see him. I had to hold back quite a few times on a previous guy Mariela was dating because I couldn't stand him.
Not a fan, huh?
Not a fan, man. And I'm actually proud of myself for not being in jail right now for hurting the guy.
Well, and the good thing is obviously she figured it out, right? It's like,
yeah,
you can there's nothing wrong with making bad decisions interim as long as in the long play you make the right decision. So
as long as those bad or small bad decisions.
Small bad decisions.
Yeah, she worked her way out of that mess, and the boyfriend she's with right now, he's a good kid. He's respectful. That's the key. The previous guy he didn't even show respect. And I'm like, fuck this guy. So
I think it's funny because so it's good they're respectful, and at the same time, if they're in that age range, that 18 to 22, it's like, and they're an idiot. I never met this dude. He's an idiot for sure. Why? Yeah. Because all dudes that age were idiots. We were idiots when we were that age, and so it's like,
he's the kind of guy that's going to be an idiot his whole life. That's the kind of guy. I don't see that dude maturing or becoming anything worth a shit.
You're talking about the last dude. You're not talking about this dude. Yeah,
he's just that kind of guy. You know, there's guys out there that are just forever losers, and he's one.
Yeah. I follow there's this quote poster or meme. It talks about with regards to raising girls. It's like, hey man, I don't have a shotgun waiting for this or that. It's like, dude, I raised my daughter right such that if you step out of line, man, you got your hands full, pumpkin. I'm sorry for you because she's gonna handle you. She don't even need me.
Yeah. Sometimes you got to just get out of her way. Mariela's tough.
Yeah, that's the goal, right?
Strong mind. She's got her head on straight, and I try not to disagree with her. Brenda sometimes disagrees with her. I'm like, what are you doing? What's wrong with you? Just go along with her. So it's kind of funny. Watch that interaction between those two.
Speaking of raising kids, I'm gonna take this three step from the way you were raised to the way you raised Mariela to the way you're now raising the new generation. Is there a big jump between Mariela and the new generation, or is it
the way I'm raising them?
Yeah.
I think so. You know, when I had Mariela, I was 23, and you know, I was young. I wasn't rich. Not that I'm rich now, but I was pretty broke. And you know, it was my first kid. I didn't know, and not only was it my first kid, it was we weren't married, single father. You know, we shared time with her, so it was a whole different upbringing, really, for Mariela. She didn't have that house to go home to, that her mom and dad were there, and if she was mad at her mom, go to her dad, and you know, back and forth. She came with me on the days that she was with me, and she was with her mom on the days she was with her mom. So she had two different styles of upbringing, you know, at both places, because Brenda and I are very different. So now that the young girls are in the house with us, you know, you get a mixture of the two of us and our style of parenting, you know, dealing with them, and it's on a daily basis. Where before, you know, a lot of times I only had her on the weekends, Mariela. So I didn't have to deal with the homework and all this stuff, but then we did all the fun stuff on the weekends, and you know, it kind of worked in my favor. But now, you know, every day of the week the girls are with us, and you know, we're just trying to find a time to take a break. All right, you got them for a little while I go to the bathroom, I go in the other room. I just got to go iron my shirt, or whatever it is. I got to go do something. I got to go in the garage and pretend like I'm doing something. So, you know, because they're here all the time, it's different. But I have more of an appreciation this time around, because that, you know, I wasn't expecting Mariela to come. These two were planned. So, and I was younger. So they were just, she was thrown in my lap, where these two, I knew they were coming. I knew I could mentally prepare for them to come. And when I look back, I'm trying to appreciate all the moments with them as they're growing. Where Mariela, I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know what to do. So I was just lost half the time. I was just, you know, I was just making it up as I went. And you know, you learn a lot like that, and hopefully I'm applying it to these other two, and not only that, I'm able to provide a little better now than before. You know,
you're just starting out.
Yeah, again, just starting out with a job early on, and I wasn't making that much money, so I was just trying to pay my bills and make sure that she wasn't starving. You know, now these girls, they can get whatever they want, and I have to hold back sometimes on not buying them too much stuff. I think I'm pretty good at it. I don't know about the wifey.
Now, how is that compared to the way you were raised?
Good question. My parents, so there's seven of us. My older brother and sister from different mom. So they would come around occasionally and sometimes they'd be in our house, sometimes they wouldn't. It was a small house. So, you know, basically a 3-bedroom house, my parents in one room, and then the boys in one room, the girls in another.
How many boys, how many girls?
What's that?
How many boys, how many girls?
3 boys, 4 girls. But one of the sisters came later. I was already in high school. I was almost, you know, a couple years from leaving. I left when she was 3. I came out here when she was 3. So I don't really count her because she wasn't around during all the rest. But the core group, I guess the older 2 were around once in a while, kind of outliers. But the 4 of us that were really in the house for most of the time, I think my parents were, you know, they gave us all they could, but they didn't have a lot of money. And that, you know, that always stuck with me. You know, we were poor. We were on food stamps at times. You know, you hear about government cheese. We got government cheese. We got a box of all that stuff that was provided by the government.
Peanut butter, powdered milk,
yeah, exactly.
cheese.
Peanut butter, powdered milk, a can that said pork or chicken.
They all had white labels on them.
Yeah, it's all it said. It was generic, and I just thought, man, we are some poor ass fools over here. But my mom, I remember she would give us, she'd give me food stamps to go down the block to the store to get tortillas or something. I was like, how embarrassing, and that always stuck with me. I wanted to get out of the hood. I didn't want to live paycheck to paycheck. I didn't want to have to struggle. And I think that's what drove me to go to school, to go to college. I was of the seven of us, I was the first one to go to college, even though I had older siblings, two older. So I was the first one to go.
First one in your immediate family, first one in your extended family?
In the extended family, we had some cousins, a couple of cousins that went, but they
weren't close.
They weren't that close, yeah. So yeah, Brian and I were really the kind of the two first to go, in the kind of the smaller family, immediate family.
I was just talking to Ray about this last week, and that is insane. That is life altering for your family, for your generation, for your legacy. Like, as soon as one person goes to college, everything changes.
Yeah. The door opened for the rest of them.
Because people didn't know it was possible. They'd never seen it done.
Yeah. People in my neighborhood know, but I remember, because I used to ride the bus. We used to have to be bused all the way across the fucking city to a high school, which didn't make sense. They never sent us to the closest school that we lived by. My neighborhood went to the two furthest schools away within Denver.
So where exactly did you grow up? Is Denver proper, like downtown Denver? Where at?
In Denver, in the city of Denver. It's the city and county of Denver. It was
on the south side, on the north side?
It was on neither. It was kind of just on the edge. We were almost in a city called Commerce City.
Okay.
Yeah, if you north, south, east, and west, we were on none of those sides.
You're right in the middle.
we were off on the edge. I don't even know how to explain it. It was all of those neighborhoods were kind of defined, and we were probably the closest to the east side.
Okay.
If I had to pick, but not really. We weren't in the east side. There was bridges and railroads and stuff, that freeways that separated us from that area. But where were we? What was the question? I already forgot the question.
No, just growing up in, and how different it was for your kids, right?
Yeah. Oh, you're talking about the legacy and the.
Oh yeah.
The being the first one to go. And all the kids in my neighborhood, I was riding the bus. I remember, that's what I was trying to say. I was riding the bus, and I remember talking to some of the other kids when we were getting close to graduating, and they were saying, "Oh, what are you going to do after graduation?" And I was like, I'm going to college. And they were like, "Why?" I'm like, "Why? What the fuck is wrong with you? Why? What are you going to do? We're going to work at Wendy's your whole life?" And this one girl just annoyed the shit out of me, because she said she worked at Wendy's right now. And she's the one that said, "Why are you going to go to college?" I'm like, I don't understand that mentality. Why would you not want to go to college? Why would you not want to be better? And that bothered me. To this day, that bothers me that she said that, because it's like, maybe that's what her family had ingrained in her head. It's not important.
Where did you learn that you could go to college? Where did you learn that you should want to go to college?
I think when I was real young, my parents would always say, "Oh, you're going to be a doctor. You're going to be," they throw some fancy ass jobs out there. And I was like, I don't know if I want to be a doctor. But, I remember I had this Harvard t-shirt that somehow appeared in my clothes. I was like, what is Harvard? I didn't know. Again, we knew nothing about college because nobody went. And, or nobody went and finished. Let me correct that. My dad went for a few years, and then he stopped. For whatever reason, he stopped and he didn't graduate. So, I always wonder what would have happened if he graduated. How different would life have been? who knows?
Yeah.
But then would I have been driven as much? Who knows? Everything happens for a reason, really. And you look at the way things were, and you try to make things better as you grow up, and that's what I want for my kids. I don't want them to struggle, but at the same time, I don't want to give them too much, because then they'll never appreciate that value of $1, and they just ask for it and they get it. I don't want that to happen all the time. And for me, man, I would hold on to that $5 or whatever, because I was like, shit, when am I going to see this again? My brother used to joke, we'd go to the store and he'd spend his $10 on all this candy and ice cream and whatever. And he said, and you never spent your money. You ate my stuff. I was like, that's right. I saved my money and let you spend yours like an idiot, so I can eat some of your candy, and I still have my money. See, that was a smart move. And I like to treat myself, but I don't want to get too crazy, because I got a kid in college, I got 2 little ones. I still got to make sure that they're taken care of, right? So I guess growing up, I always have that in the back of my mind. Spend your money and treat yourself, but don't get fucking out of hand. Don't get crazy like these millionaire athletes that make all this money and then next thing you know, they're broke. Dumb. Makes no sense to me.
How did you go from Denver to Santa Clara?
I applied to 3 colleges: Syracuse, Santa Clara, and Pitt. Why? I don't know.
That's what I was going to ask. Those are random.
I got so much college mail from schools all over the country, and I whittled it down. I knew I wanted to be an engineer, and I didn't know what kind. I just knew I liked numbers, I liked equations, I liked to solve problems, and I got it down to some schools that had good engineering programs. And then I whittled it down even more. I had a list of like 50 schools. And I went to see the advisor in high school, and he said, I told you to make the list smaller. And I said, this is smaller. You should have seen all the mail I got. I had like just a pile, probably up to my waist, of mail. And he said, you got to get it down to like 10 or less. And I said, oh, okay. Remember, this is the time where there was no internet. Mm-hmm. There was no applying online. We had to fill out our forms and mail them by mail and all this. So it was a lot of effort, and you had to be on top of it. You couldn't just submit it at the last minute. You had to go get everything in advance. So some of them I missed the deadline that I wanted to go. And I finally said, you know what? This is my chance to get out of Denver for a while. Go to college. I picked East Coast and the West Coast. And I said, let me just pick some schools there, and I'll apply. And I was real close to going to Syracuse. And then Santa Clara sent me their financial aid offer, and I was like,
there you go.
I cannot, we're broke. I was already thinking, how am I going to come up with this extra money that Syracuse is asking for? So I got Santa Clara is the reason. They gave me a nice financial aid package. And so I looked at the brochure and I said, yeah, that looks nice. And I never visited the school once. Mm-hmm. I just jumped on a plane for the first time with my suitcases. My mom came with me. I made her carry as much as she could, and that's all I brought. That's all I had to start out with. And I just thought, man, kind of scary to go someplace that you've never been and you're going to live there for a while. So yeah, that's how I ended up at Santa Clara. I whittled it down to 3 schools, which is unheard of now. You got to apply to like 10 plus just to make sure you have a chance to get in. And Santa Clara just looked, the palm trees, Mission Gardens looked beautiful in the brochure. They sold me. And so I went and I moved in, and it's funny. The first day, I'll tell this story. The first day I met Jesus. He was right across the hall from me. And, if you've never met Jesus, you never talked to him. He had this, he was wearing, I remember he had a hat on. He had this, I don't know, it was like a Cholo art shirt or something. And I thought, look at this guy. Hopefully he's not a thug. That's what I was thinking in my mind. Jesus now is like, he's far from a thug. I thought, I hope this guy's not a thug trying to start some trouble. and I told my
Santa
mom,
Clara, because that's where all the thugs kick it at Santa Clara.
Yeah, they all go to Santa Clara. But, that's all I know from the hood, right? And I even remember telling my mom, I hope this guy's not a thug. She laughed, and we all got to know each other. And I was like, man, I was way off. This guy is nowhere near thug life. And so, I was right across the hall from Jesus. He was straight across the door. Our doors are right across, and that's one of the first people I met when we moved in. When we moved into our dorms.
That was the beginning, huh?
Our floor had quite a few guys on it. By the end of the year, Fabio and Brian moved in at the end of the year, or the second quarter, and me, Jesus, Sunil was hiding at the end of the hall for a while, and then one day he just appeared. And we were like, who's this guy? So Sunil just was, we got to all like get together and talk about it, because all of a sudden one day Sunil just came walking down the hall, and we were like, where did he come from? He was in a single. He lived in a single at the end of the hall. And I just thought, I didn't even know there was a room there. I thought it was a closet, because it's almost in the stairwell at the end.
You thought it was a closet?
Yeah, because it was a very small room, but it was a single. It was just
Sunil lived in the closet.
Yeah, Sunil, he was a shy guy back then, but what a difference. I was listening to the interview you had with him. I was like, yeah, he's changed quite a bit, from back then. Kind of fun to see the difference now between that time. He strolled down the hall with this big ass baggy sweatshirt, skinny guy, man, skinny ass
stick figure.
He was original stick figure, and then look at him now, man. Talk about growing up. Look at this guy.
Yeah, it was really funny because I had always heard those stories about Sunil being shy and super introverted. And when I met Sunil, I was like, damn, this fool's a G. Like, Sunil was as smooth as could be. And I remember we used to call him Snoop. And it's like, yeah, dude, Sunil's
he converted to Snoop, man. Yeah, how do you become Snoop? If you're shy. So, my dog, it's just amazing how far we go back, all these guys, Fabio, Sunil, Jesus, Cheech moved up to our floor after we pledged. Actually, he became Jesus's roommate, and so we were all a bunch of us, all NACs on that same floor. And mind you, we were only half the floor because the other half was girls. So we kind of dominated that floor. Everybody knew what NAC was on freshman year in Swig 5.
Even though there was only 4 of you.
Yeah, there was only 4.
Because all the rest of the guys you named weren't NACs yet, right? I mean, they didn't pledge till later. So
4 of us, and then Fabio and Sunil came later. So Sunil, I think, was the next year, and then Fabio was out of nowhere. I didn't believe him up to the time he pledged. I didn't believe he was going to do it.
That's how Fabio always rolls. It's just out of nowhere. He just kind of shows up, and then he's gone just as quick. He's like, he throws the smoke bomb and disappears.
Yeah, he vanishes. I just had a dinner with him, or I saw him in around Christmas time.
Where at? In the city or?
No, he's in Colorado.
I know he's in Colorado. So
yeah, he's running the restaurant out there, and Chewy actually was in town. His son
in Denver. Chewy was
in Denver. Yeah, Chewy was in Denver, and his son was there, and or lives there, and so his family, him and the wifey and his daughters, were there visiting the son, and we were trying to connect, And I was like, why don't I kill 2 birds with 1 stone? See if Chewy wants to meet up at Fabio's place to eat. So we all went up to Boulder where Fabio's at and had dinner and hung out for a little bit. This is just December, just this last December.
Yeah.
So it was good seeing them, man. It's been a little while.
So when Fabio moved, he stopped by and stayed the night here when he was moving from San Francisco to Denver, or to Boulder, I guess. I'm going to see if Fabio, if you watch this, I'm going to hit you up next week, because I've got to be doing a cross country road trip, and hopefully maybe spend the night in Denver and catch up with Fabs too.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and offer the room in his place for you. Stay. Go ahead and hit him up. It's already confirmed.
There you go. Well, I'm going to be traveling with my family, so I'll need a room for 7.
Yeah. Well, good luck with that. Well, maybe you can get a hotel for them, and then you go stay with Fabio.
There you go.
Like old times.
Like old times. That's awesome. That's awesome. So, who was it that pulled you into NAC? Because you're one of the betas. Like it was the alphas and the founders, right? But a lot of the founders had graduated by the time they were crossing, or soon after, right?
Yeah. When we started, most of the founding fathers were gone. The only ones that were still around were Ray Barrow, Mikey Ponzio, John, of course, he was there for like 10 years. Let's see. Oscar, Lucky Lager, Oscar Martinez. I think that's it. I think everybody else had graduated. So, and that's the founders. The Alpha class, there was Johnny Avila and Freddie and Manuel. Is that it? I'm trying to remember who was in which class, but there wasn't a lot. There wasn't a lot of them. But I remember we went to a Mecha meeting, and we ran into, I think it was Oscar Martinez, which is crazy that of all the people to recruit us was this guy who kind of became some kind of, I don't know what happened to Oscar. He just, something, the wires got loose or something upstairs. But he came, he was talking to us and he said, "Oh, you guys should think about pledging for NAC." And we're like, "What the hell's NAC?" And we didn't know who the guys were, or we didn't know much about it. So we're like, all right, we'll check it out. And at the time, this was first quarter. At the time, Brian wasn't there yet. So it was just me and Jesus. I don't remember if we knew Juan yet. But we said, yeah, we'll check it out. So beginning of the second quarter, Brian was already in, and we decided to go to Rush. And honestly, I think it was at Pizza and Pipes. That was the staple for many years. But man, it's so long ago. I can't remember the details. This is 96.
I was going to say, what year did you cross? 96, yeah.
Yeah, 96. There's a lot of people that may be watching later. It's before they were born, I think. So it's crazy to think. 96, we crossed. And actually, right after we crossed, a lot of the older guys graduated. Yeah. So we were kind of left in charge immediately. We only had a couple guys still around. So we had to take over and carry the load for the next 3 years while we were still there. And it was good because we got to put our fingerprints all over the organization. Whatever they had in their minds before, we tried to follow, but we also had our own fingerprints on it. And it made a difference.
And it's so crazy to think, because at that point the organization was so young.
Yeah.
I mean, and you felt like it was younger, but at the time you didn't realize how young. Like 3 years into 30 years or whatever we're at now, I don't know, 25 years or whatnot.
Yeah.
It's I guess 30 years in 93 to 2023. There's 30 years coming up next year, and so to think that it was like, 3 years in.
Yeah, there was a toddler.
I had no idea.
Man. It was a toddler organization, and nobody knew about us. We were underground. I remember we were doing some community service, and people were like, "Oh, how many NACs are there? There must be like 20 of you." And we're like, 20 of us? There's like 5 of us. And I think it was because we were making it a point to try to participate in as much as we can to get our name out there, to get some exposure, to hopefully get people interested to join. And yeah, a lot of people thought that we were much bigger than we were.
Well, and add to that all Mexicans look alike anyway, so
yeah, they just assumed that every Mexican was a NAC.
They thought the dudes doing the landscaping in Mission Gardens were NACs too, so
I know that's their part-time job between classes.
Media services and landscaping. So
Media services, man, there was a good run of NACs through there, even starting with the founders.
All the way down. That tradition, I don't know if it's still going, but the tradition was long for sure. Well, I think so. I've gotten to say this to a number of the founders, but I think to you, it's even more pointed and personal, because I ask everybody, oh, so who brought you in? Well, I feel like you were you weren't maybe the first, but you were definitely one of the main ones who brought me into the organization. From the party for your 22nd birthday that I went to, that it was the first weekend after school started, and that's when I met everybody. I met you, and I remember you walk. You're like, come on in. You open the fridge, grab a 22. I'm 22, and there's 22 sitting there. Yeah, I was actually going to stop by and grab one, but I ran out of time.
Yeah, hey, let me go grab you one from my fridge.
Yeah. And so, from that time all the way through, man, you were a wonderful recruiter of me. You obviously sucked at recruiting because I pledged by myself. So, but at least you got one.
I got one.
It's quality over quantity. But that you, as I've told several times on this podcast, changed my life. Fundamentally, NAC changed my life, and you were such a huge part of that. And so I thank you. My family thanks you. My kids thank you, because of the trajectory that NAC shifted my life and played such a positive influence in. That just trickles down and is a fundamental change. And if it weren't for you and that influence, man, and the other guys as well, for sure, but I'm talking to you, so I'll tell you. Huge difference, huge thanks, and thank God that you were there, that you came all the way from Denver, and that you chose Santa Clara as opposed to fucking random Syracuse. God.
Yeah. Although it would have been nice to go to some sports games over, some basketball games and some football games at a real college like that.
But Syracuse is like upstate New York, and Santa Clara is in the middle of the Bay. Like,
I know, but I didn't know shit. I never went on a plane ride until I was a senior in high school. And my first plane ride was to Vermont.
The hell was in Vermont?
Nothing. The University of Vermont. There's a link here. Sean Kopp's uncle was the advisor at our high school. And, he got to know us, Brian and I, he got to know us, and he said, hey, Vermont is willing to pay for your trip to go visit their campus and see if you're interested in going there. So Brian, myself, and his son went out there, we jumped on a flight and went to Vermont and stayed. And I don't remember much about it, but it was very white.
Yeah,
that's what I remember.
I can imagine.
Yeah, and a lot of people, and that was the purpose. That was, once we found out, the purpose of it was to try to color the campus a little bit.
Sure.
So they were trying to get some diversity out there. And I remember I just wasn't interested. They were really trying to sell it by saying, oh, Vermont is just like Colorado, has similar weather throughout the year. And I was like, I don't care about that.
Where's the girls?
College sucks. So we did take the free trip, went out there, and that was my first flight ever, was going to Vermont. And then my second flight was going to Santa Clara. And
that is wild.
That was it. Yeah.
So prior to leaving Denver, you didn't do too much traveling? Road trips?
I never left the state. With 7 of us, and not having a lot of money, my parents, our Disneyland was going camping. Mm-hmm. There's no way in hell they could have taken all of us to Disneyland, mm-hmm. either driving or by plane. Just the cost was it was too much. So, anytime there was, summer break or something, or not really spring break because it's too cold. But summer break, we'd go camping. We'd go up to the mountains for a few days and then come back down and back to swimming. We were at the swimming pool every day, pretty much. That was kind of the babysitter for us. My mom would give us a few quarters, and we'd go pay and swim until it closed, and then come home. That's what we did all the time until we got old enough to get a job. And then I worked from the moment I could work till now. I've been working. So kind of sucks. Kind of sucks that that's the case. But I guess I took some time off and did college. I didn't work too much in college, but I didn't have a lot of time, man. You don't have a lot of time as an engineer to do extracurricular stuff. The extracurricular stuff I did was knack, you know, and I'm with you on that. Knack changed my life too. You know, you find a group, you find a family away from home. And for people like us that come from out of state, it was nice to find a group of people that you can hang out with, that you could kick it with, that are, you know, your brothers, but more that's your family, you know, and that was my family away from home. And it's still my family away from home. You know, I still run into a handful of guys on occasion, not as much as I'd like, but you know, when we get together, it's like, again, like it was just yesterday, you know? So
who do you still see?
Well, I still see Brian, of course. I see Rick. Mm-hmm. I see Sunil on occasion. We at least see each other once a year because we play fantasy football and we get together and talk shit and, you know, whatever else we need to have some drinks. Who else do I see? Occasionally, I'll see Marcoida. Mm-hmm. I haven't seen Esquivel in a while, but, you know, once in a while we connect.
Where are you living?
I live in Newark.
Okay. All right. So that's East Bay, right?
Yeah. So, and Freddie's over in this area too, or at least he was. So Freddie and Barrow, I run into them every so often.
Where's Jesus?
Jesus, I work with Jesus. He works for the city of Mountain View also.
In IT?
Yeah. He's in IT. He works a floor above me.
You're kidding me.
No, he got the job first. Actually, I remember seeing the opening and I sent it to him. I said, hey, they're looking for an IT guy. Next thing you know, he said, hey, I got that job. I was like, oh, cool. And then I think I joined a year later. So
that's hilarious.
Yeah, I haven't seen him in a while.
Because are you guys working remote? Or?
Yeah. So we just went back to the office last week. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I've been going in occasionally to kind of see my staff and, you know, give them some assignments and, you know, just kind of, it's too long to go without seeing your staff. So I would, I'd kind of force them to come in and we'll have lunch and hang out and see each other. But I would go in occasionally, but Jesus was pretty much home the majority of the time from what I understand. So I never ran into him at work. Even when we were there all the time, I hardly ran into him because he's doing his thing and I'm doing mine.
Yeah, you got a job to do.
Yeah, so I would, you know, we both would try to make a point to have lunch once in a while just to catch up. But yeah, Jesus, I see Jesus as part of fantasy football. And then, you know, these last 2 years, we really haven't seen anybody.
Yeah.
It's been a little odd. So like before that, we'd go to birthday parties of our kids and baptisms and all this. But really the last 2 years, the group has shrunk on who you see regularly or at all, you know, so.
That's why I kept having kids, man.
Yeah, I know, you get bored. It's a little cold. Wait, let me say one more thing. No, not that we're wrapping up, but, you know, I remember meeting you and I just thought, you know, that seems like a good kid. And watching you go through the process, go through school, you know, I felt like we had a lot in common. Mm-hmm. And we're very different, but we had a lot in common, which is, you know, hard to explain. But I saw a lot of potential and I thought, you know, that guy's going to do something good somewhere down the road. I don't know if you already have or if it's still coming.
It's still coming. I'm holding out.
But I, you know, I remember we had some good times and yeah, you know, I appreciate the words. I remember when you were thinking about it, and I didn't want to make the decision for you, but I just wanted to expose you to the brotherhood to see what, the potential. And I see, I saw it through college and after, and then you took off, which was unfortunate because there's still a lot of fun to be had after college.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that you saw what I saw too. The brotherhood was definitely a family away from home, and not a lot of people have had that opportunity when they went to college to get that second family. So I think it's important for people that are far away from home.
Absolutely, man. I mean, I think about in comparison to the high school experience. Like, I didn't have a bad high school experience, but it was whatever. High school was nonsense. It was bullshit. And then when I think about college and NAC and Santa Clara, I don't have anything but wonderful, wonderful memories. Just absolutely. Oh my God, it was a 4-year vacation, and it was phenomenal. And that's that I was an engineer. It wasn't. Yeah, I was giving Ray Esquivel a hard time about being a comm major, but then he went and got a JD MBT, so he made up for it. But
yeah, he made something of himself. Sorry, Ray.
but it was. I've got nothing but wonderful memories of it, and it's part of it's because I only remember the good things anyways. But even whatever challenges there were within the organization, because it was and is an organization run by idiot 18 to 22-year-olds. That's all it can ever be, is that organization. But it gives those folks such wonderful learning experiences and chances to lead that I'm eternally grateful for it, man.
Yeah, that leadership piece, not a lot of people had a chance to do anything like it. Even if you're not the leader, you were a part of an organization and you had a role. And some people are just, they're not made for that. And a lot of it is they didn't have any exposure. I tell Mariela all the time, if you want to be successful, you got to be able to speak in front of people. Mm-hmm. You've got to be unafraid to talk to a crowd. You got to be able to present. I said, I do it all the time. I have to. It's my job. And you think I love it? Not really. But I have a lot of practice in it. And it helps. That practice, you need it. Otherwise, you're going to be so damn nervous. And do I get nervous still? Yeah, all the time. I never know what's going to come at me. And, it's, if you're not nervous, something is wrong, I think. But I tell her, you gotta try to get that exposure and get that practice, because who knows what you're going to be someday. I envision her to be a leader. You got to be unafraid to talk to a lot of people, and you got to be able to talk to a full room of people, not just one-on-one. You got to talk to more than just a little bit of people. So I think she's getting there. She's getting some of that practice. She started folklorico group in high school. She's carrying the group in college now. She was teaching kids off on the side to do dancing. She's in a sorority. She's the president of a sorority now. She's doing too much in my mind. She needs to calm down a little bit. But I think that applies to the students too. The students and the NAC students now and back then. You got to expose yourself to all these things and get practice doing a lot of these things, because it's going to benefit you in your career later.
Some of the opportunities that NAC presented while we were around, especially like being able to host nationals, NAC Fest, and that kind of stuff, was, I talk to folks now, and it's like, yeah, when I was 19, we were throwing club parties at the local bar and taking the door, and and it was like, and I was 19, and being a part of those things. Yeah. At that time, it was way above my experience level, but it was like, hey, you got to go make this happen. And then I just remember being in the kitchens or the back bars counting out the box, and it's like there's like $6,000 in here.
Yeah,
it's like we got to go put this in the car.
I know.
Paying out the bartenders, and it's like I'm not even technically legal to drink here, but I guess I'm gonna pay you guys.
Yeah, you're right. That's stuff that we never, we've never held that much cash in our hand. We had to put these kind of events together, and kind of strange, but we just did it. We did it, and we had no experience doing it. The first time you did it, that was the first time you did it. So you learned, and all right, next time, what can I do better? Or what do I teach the next guy how to do that? Whether it was a house party that was just hopping and we're collecting at the door at a house party, or a club party, or the Hyatt.
Yeah, exactly.
Everything that we did, we learned, and it's a good learning experience for sure.
I always felt it, for me, even more impactful from the perspective that, a lot of the guys grew up right there in the Bay, but I grew up in between two cornfields in Utah. And so to be in the middle of Silicon Valley and running this, it's like, oh, we're not in Kansas anymore. I'm far away from home, and this escalated quickly, as Anchorman says.
That's right. It really did escalate quickly. Okay, I got a question for you. What are you doing now? What kind of let's go back. Here's the interview for you. What have you been doing the last 20 years? After you left California, what have you been doing?
All right.
Everybody needs to hear this.
Yeah, I'll give you the 90-second scoop. I've done this a couple times. So I graduated from Santa Clara, and then I spent the summer teaching English in South Korea. I came back and then moved with my girlfriend at that time. We moved to Dallas. I took a job as I was working at IBM in Silicon Valley for like 3 years while I was in school, and then took a job doing technical sales and marketing in Dallas for Texas Instruments. They do like a 18-month training program. They only hire computer and electrical engineers to do, and then they teach them to do sales. It's like an internal MBA. And then after that 18 months, they shipped me out to St. Petersburg, Florida. It was right outside. It's on the peninsula outside of Tampa.
When did you get married? That was when you were still in Texas?
No, I had moved to Florida by then.
I remember an email that you had sent about
well, you were there.
Free Gordon Biersch or something. We were like, what? This is how he announces this to us? All right. So then you were in Florida, and you were working for who?
I was working for Texas Instruments.
Okay.
And so I was managing distribution sales for Texas Instruments. And so every week I was in Tampa, Orlando, and Miami every single week, just managing our reps out there. And I did that for about six years. And during that time, got married and divorced very quickly. And so I was about to turn 28. And I'm like, I gotta get out of here. And so I quit corporate. And the goal was to take 6 months off. I'm like, I'm leaving corporate. I had, I don't know, I'd say I had like $30,000 or $40,000 in the bank that just piled up because I couldn't spend it fast enough. I'm serious. I was super irresponsible, but I was making enough money that I was like, I'm going to take 6 months off and I'm going to go to the nonprofit world. Well, that 6 months turned into 26 months. 26 is some of the greatest months of my life. I didn't sell everything, but I moved into a storage unit. My car, my motorcycle, everything I owned. I had 2 keys on my keychain, one to the storage unit and one to a P.O. box. And I lived out of my suitcase for 2 years. During that time, I met my now wife. And we traveled around the world a couple times. I was in Malaysia, India and Malaysia, and Guatemala and Costa Rica and Mexico. I went to Oktoberfest in Munich. And then she was, during this time, I took the first year off and it was just a blast, just traveling. And then I'm like, I'm not ready to go back to work. And so I over those 6 years, I had piled up a little 401k. And so I cashed that out and went the second year. I lived off of that. Me and my wife got married, and then she is a ceramic artist. She went to college and she got a degree in studio art, so she's a potter. And so she got a non-paying job on Princess Cruise Lines.
Okay. I remember this. You were on a cruise ship for a while.
Yeah, so we did we did 2 summers, one in the Caribbean, Panama Canal, backside of Mexico, doing that trip, and then another summer in Alaska, just going back and forth from Seattle to Alaska. And so we did that for a couple summers, and we're just hanging out, living the life. I was her official assistant. So we didn't get paid. We were still just living off of whatever that 401k was. But we only worked for a couple hours when the boat was actually traveling at sea, and then as soon as it pulled into port, we were passengers. And so we would go down to the excursion desk. We'd drop off. We'd say, "Hey, what do you guys got?" And they're like, "Help us get people on their excursions, and then you guys can go whale watching or zip lining or whitewater rafting. We've got all these ones," and they just give them to us. And then on the way back, we just bring them a bottle of wine and say thank you, and then they'd hook us up even more the next time. So
that's what it's all about, man. The hooking people up and making those connections.
That was it. And so after 26 months, two solid years, we landed back in Florida. We lived in Costa Rica for a while doing humanitarian mission work, and then landed back in Florida. And I didn't have, I think I had, I don't know, there was probably like $7,000 in the bank or something like that at that point, like after 2 years of not working. And it's like, okay, well, I got to get a job. And I didn't know what I was going to do. And on Craigslist, my wife saw a position for a part-time adjunct in faculty at the local community college, teaching web and graphic design. So I went over there and I got on part-time, and then got on full-time, and I was there for 4 years. And then the schools in Florida are horrible. The beaches are wonderful. The schools are horrible. And so my wife and I were like, "Hey, we want to have kids, but the school doesn't pay well, and we don't want to raise our kids in these public schools. So we got to figure something out." And so I ended up just, we came for a wedding. We came to Utah for a wedding. One of my best friends, I was actually the officiant for the wedding. And when we left, we were like, "Man, we had a lot of fun. Utah's got a great economy. It's a really great place to raise kids. Their school system is amazing, blah, blah, blah. And I have so much community here. I have a huge family here of cousins, and everybody's well-to-do and all that." And so all of a sudden it was like, dude, are we saying that we're okay to thinking about moving back to Utah? Because when I left, I was never coming back. And technically it was I had been gone for 16 years. And I had no desire to come back. And so she said, "Yeah, I think I'm open to moving to Utah." She's from Atlanta. And so, I never, ever, and we were living in Florida for 10 years. I never thought that I was coming back to Utah. And so, so I put in, I looked and I found a job opening, for a technical school right down the street from where my parents live, where I grew up. And it turned out that this school that now I got the job and I work at, man, it's like the Harvard of technical colleges, and it's a wonderful place. And it's like everybody loves working there. I've been there for 8 years, and I'm teaching web and graphic design. I'm the lead faculty for my department, and it's just a phenomenal run. So we had one kid in Florida moved to Utah, and then have had 4 more here. I've ate lunch with my mom and dad every single day for the past 8 years.
Ah, fuck, man. That's nice. That's cool.
My dad actually, he passed last fall at the age of 94, but have been able they've been able to watch all the grandkids growing up. Like, we're over there all the time. And then when pandemic hit, it's like, that's the only place we go.
Yeah.
And so, it's been a wonderful experience where my brother just got divorced and moved, but for 8 years, me and him shared a fence. his house is right there and mine was right here.
Mm-hmm.
And so just tons of family, tons of community.
So you guys are all within like a 5-minute drive or walk or that close, huh?
Yeah, I live 10 minutes and I'm talking certain neighborhood surface streets from my mom. I'm 7 miles from work and my mom's house is in between here and work. Like,
yeah, so you don't have to worry about the commute like you would out here. Is it non-existent for you?
No commute. No commute.
That's awesome, man. That's real cool. I always had plans to go back to Colorado, and that was actually my plan, was to work for a few years after graduating, get some experience, so that way I can say, when I do make it out there, I worked in engineering. I went to this school. Here's my experience, and then that was the plan. Mariela was born. Everything changed, so I had to stick around, and I've been here since '95, and it's kind of hard to believe. I came out here in '95 and never left, and that wasn't the plan at all. So I miss the family, of course. Whenever I go home, it's kind of hard. I sometimes I don't get to see everybody, and that sucks, because who knows the next time when I'm going to go out there. And even pandemic wise, we hadn't gone for quite a long time. So we just went out there in December, and that's the first time we saw everybody in 2 years, pretty close to 2 years. It's like, man, a lot has changed. The nephews and nieces are much bigger, and it's hard. So for you to be so close to your family, that's great. That's a great situation to be in. I'm jealous.
Yeah. And at the same time, like, so many of these decisions were, there was sacrifices made on each one of them, where it's like, the writing's on the wall. None of our parents are getting any younger. And so it's like, hey, if we're going to do something, we need to do something sooner than later. And now having lost my dad last year, it's like, I don't have any regrets. Yeah. It wasn't like, oh man, I wish I would have. It's like, no, I've spent the last 8 years of my life here, and I brought 5 grandkids into this world and let him hold them and play with them on the regular, So it's like, I
imagine if you didn't go.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you get a call from your mom, your dad's passed away. You're like, oh shit.
Yeah.
I was just going to go next month, or, a lot of regrets.
Yeah.
So that's cool that you got to do that, spend that time.
Yeah. And I mean, and even just today, like, I had lunch with my mom. My mom makes me lunch every single day. My mom makes me lunch. And so people at work will be like, hey, you want to go grab a bite to eat? I'm like, nope. Sorry, man. I got plans. I was like, but if you want to come by for some bomb ass Mexican food, you can come with me to my mom's house real quick. I was like, I'm gonna go grab a bite and then take a little nap on the couch, and then I'll be back.
Hey, where's Mace? Is he out there too?
Mace actually took care of my dad for the past however many years. He lives at my parents' house.
Okay.
So
he's right there too. So you see him.
He's right there. Yeah, he's right there, man. He actually takes care of my mom and dad there.
Oh, that's good.
And he works remote. He's a computer engineer, and so he's doing well just the same.
Good for him. Yeah. Good for both of you guys, man. It's good to see you guys grown up and doing your thing. Like,
again, it was touch and go for a while. You never know how this was going to turn out.
Yeah, but you know what? You guys did it, and you're doing well. You seem to be in a good spot, and it seems like the job is good.
Job is wonderful. Job just keeps getting better.
Good.
Yeah. So with the pandemic mellowing out, I don't know what it's going to do in the fall or whatever. For right now, we gotta focus on. I got to get to the Bay with my family. Without my family, somehow I got to get out to the Bay, and we're all going to kick it sooner than later.
Let me know when, man. I'll make sure to I'll block off some time, so that way we can hang out. We're due for a brew, man. It's been way too damn long, and
if I can find it. So right now my family, my wife and kids, I drove them across the country in that minivan all loaded up, and I dropped them off in Atlanta, and I flew back. And so they're out there right now. I got to fly back at the end of the month to pick them up and drive them back. And so right now I'm a bachelor. So I don't know. You don't be surprised if this next weekend I catch a Southwest flight out there for the weekend. If I can find a good one.
Hit us up. Make sure we know. Give us enough notice. We can try to carve out some time.
I'll send you an email that says free Gordon Biersch, bro.
Yeah. Then I'll think you're marrying someone else.
All right. We're already over time, but I got some questions. I got some questions everybody answers. First one is 5 favorite artists. Could be authors, musicians, actors.
Shit.
Playwrights.
Santana.
Nice.
I'm a big B-side Players fan. They're a group that I'll have to introduce you to if you haven't heard them. I'm gonna go music. Oza Motley. I'm a big Oza Motley fan. Yeah. It's a tough one because there's so much out there. I like Marlo. And then let's see, who else am I missing? Then why don't you throw in some NWA? I like NWA and all the branches off NWA. I don't know why, I just like that gangster rap from back in the day. I remember picking up a tape from the street, a cassette tape, and we're like, what's on this? So we went and played it, and it was Straight Outta Compton, the album. We had never heard that kind of shit before.
It was a dub tape?
It was somebody recorded it. And this is back probably when it first came out. I was like, man, this is some raw shit right here. You never heard anything like that. That was the birth of gangster rap. So just that I still dig it. I was listening to it earlier. Some Dr. Dre, some Eazy-E. So I'm a fan. I'm still a fan.
That halftime show was legit, huh?
Yeah, it was cool. I don't know about the young buck, Kendrick. I don't like his song choice, but whatever. and I had a good laugh when I saw 50 Cent hanging upside down. I was like, is that 50 Cent? What the hell's going on here? But yeah, that was cool.
5 dinner guests, dead or alive.
Oh man, that's a tough one. So many people I'd love to sit down. Cesar Chavez, I'd love to chat with him. Barack Obama. Dave Chappelle.
I love it.
Fuck it, Chris Rock. I want to see what the hell's going on lately. What's he been up to?
Getting smacked.
Man, I'm on his side. Leave it at 4. I can't think of the 5th.
All right. That's good. Some of the best advice you've ever been given.
I don't know who told me this, but and I use it on my staff a lot. You don't know what you don't know. And I think a lot of that is you want to learn as much as you can. You want to know as much as you can, so that there's less you don't know what you don't know. That's always going to be the case. You want to know as much as you possibly can, so that you're prepared for as many situations as you can be prepared for. But there's always going to be something you don't know, and you're going to learn. You're going to make mistakes, and you're going to learn from those mistakes. And I almost feel like, and again, I tell my staff this all the time, it's okay. It's almost better to make some of these mistakes, because you'll never forget that mistake and you won't make it again. Where if you were able to slide through and make the mistake and nobody noticed, you'll never know, and you won't learn from it. Mm-hmm. I don't know if I'm making sense, but
no, that's perfect.
But you gotta, making mistakes is critical to growth and to learning.
One of the things that my wife and I focus on right now is we're trying to normalize failure. Like, messing up, that's what you do all the time. I have students who will tell me, they'll ask 50 million questions and then they'll be like, well, I just don't want to make any mistakes, or I just want to make sure that I get it right on the first try. It's like, who does that? Yeah. Who gets it? Nobody gets it right on the first try. It's like the whole purpose of being in education is you're in a safe space where you can make all the mistakes, and people don't die when you make mistakes. When you do it out there, who knows what's going to happen? But right here, nothing's going to happen. Students will get bent out of shape. It's like, oh, I got to start over. It's like, yeah, start over. You know how many times I start over when I'm learning something new? 50 times. You just start over and start over, because that's how you learn. Yeah. Nothing wrong with failure. It's just don't stay in failure. Don't keep doing it until you're not in failure.
You got to be determined. If you fail, you got to be determined to figure it out, to keep going, to be resilient. You got to. There's sometimes when I can't figure something out, and I'm like, I'm going to figure this shit out. I'm pissed. Now I'm pissed. I'm going to figure out how to do this, and I'm going to freaking kick your ass, because I got to know why is it frustrating me so much, because I can't figure it out. So I got to just keep trying. And one thing that I always tell Mariela, she probably got tired of hearing it, was just do your best. You can't do better than your best.
That's it.
If you half-assed it, then I'll be pissed.
Yep.
If you did your best and that's what the grade you got, fine. I'm fine with it.
Yep.
Just try your best.
That's 100% the rule in our house with our kids. It's like, just your best. You have to do your best all the time, no matter what you're doing, whether you're scrubbing the toilet or whatever you're doing, do your absolute best. That's it.
Yeah, exactly. No matter what you're doing, do it to the fullest and
that you can to your ability. It's like, sometimes your best is going to be the best, and sometimes your best, hey, that didn't cut it. But so long as that's what you're giving every single day, that's it. There's no, you're blameless after that. It's like, hey, well, I understand you want more, but that's it.
Yeah, I'm already drilling that into the little one's head. The 3-year-old, she's not ready to do her best yet. But the 6-year-old, I'm hammering it. When we talk, we have so many conversations and they're just all over the place. But when we're talking, I'm like, well, did you try your best? She's like, yeah. I said, all right, then good job. That's all you can do. And it's, how it is with that little age range is the conversations are unique. Let's say unique. Yeah. All over the place. And sometimes I wonder, where are we going with this conversation? I'm like, whatever, let's go. I'm along for the ride. Let's hear what's happening. I can't figure out why she's asking me or where she's going with it, but whatever. It's fun. It's a fun ride.
Love it. All right. Final question. Who should I have on the podcast next? But the catch is you got to help me get them on. This could be, this could be, hey, so-and-so's got a great story, or this could be, oh man, whatever happened to that guy? I lost him. Let's track him down.
I think you need to get Mikey Ponzio on here. If you can track him down.
Well, yeah. Do you have any in on that one?
I don't know, but you know what? You want to talk about a guy that was a big influence. Even though we didn't meet him until after we started pledging, Mikey Ponzio was around us a lot. As much as he was able to, he hung out with us. We spent a lot of time with him. And man, what a good dude. I'd love to hear what he's up to and how things are going for him. So I don't know if anybody's mentioned his name, but
so somewhere on social media, I think we're going to be able to find him. I think he's, okay. I like it. I'll reach out.
I'll love if I can find a way to get a hold of him. I'll pass it on. But yeah, I'd love to.
If nothing else, Marcoito will be able to line us up.
Maybe, I don't know. We were able to track down Chris Ayala for the what was it, the 10-year anniversary. We were able to, we got him in Winstead, and
that was a long time ago.
We got to get some of those old timers that a lot of people don't know.
Well, it's crazy to think that next year is 30 years.
Yeah, when you said that, I guess I never really crossed my mind, because you're right. We were the third class to go through, year. And here we are. Jesus, hard to believe. Talk about feeling old. There, you did it.
They did it. Mission accomplished.
My knee hurts now just thinking about that.
All right, brother. Well, I greatly appreciate your time, and thank you so much for this. Hopefully, like I said before, that this is just the beginning of being in closer contact. And if I show up on your doorstep next week, don't be too surprised. But if not, then sooner or later we'll be having a brew.
Right on, brother. It was good.
All right, man. All right. Peace.
See ya.
Until next time, bros. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.